The moon hung low in the ink-black sky, casting an eerie glow on the desolate road ahead. I tightened my grip on the steering wheel as my tires hummed along the asphalt, the only sound breaking the silence of the night. It was the kind of darkness that whispered secrets and concealed nightmares, a darkness that seemed to grow thicker with each passing mile. I was on a seemingly endless stretch of road, surrounded by dense woods on either side. The gnarled branches reached out like skeletal fingers, their shadows dancing on the asphalt, creating an otherworldly tableau. My headlights carved through the darkness, revealing the winding road that seemed to stretch endlessly into the abyss. The radio crackled with static, the signal weak and intermittent. An unsettling feeling crept over me, intensified by the haunting music that played faintly through the interference. I glanced at the clock. It was well past midnight. I had underestimated the distance, and the unfamiliar road showed no signs of civilization. Unease settled in the pit of my stomach as the headlights illuminated a dilapidated sign ahead, its letters barely legible. "Welcome to Hollow Creek," it read, but there was nothing welcoming about the desolation that enveloped the area. My GPS signal had long been lost, and I felt a sense of vulnerability in the isolation of the night. The road twisted and turned like a serpent, each bend revealing more of the oppressive forest that bordered the path. I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, as if unseen eyes lingered in the shadows, tracking my every move. An inexplicable dread hung in the air, and I considered turning back, but the road behind me seemed to vanish into the darkness. As I rounded another bend, my headlights caught a figure standing at the side of the road. My heart skipped a beat as I strained to see through the night. A woman, dressed in a tattered white gown, her hair obscuring her face. Panic set in as I slammed on the brakes, bringing the car to a screeching halt. The woman didn't move, her presence hauntingly still. I hesitated, torn between the fear of the unknown and the instinct to help. Against my better judgment, I rolled down the window and called out to her. No response. My voice echoed into the silence of the night, swallowed by the oppressive darkness. As my eyes adjusted, I could see the woman's pale skin and vacant eyes. She lifted her head slowly, revealing a face etched with sorrow. A cold chill ran down my spine as she extended a trembling hand, gesturing toward the woods. Without a word, she turned and disappeared into the shadows. Curiosity mingled with trepidation as I contemplated my next move. Something compelled me to follow her, an invisible force pulling me toward the foreboding woods. With a deep breath, I stepped out of the car and entered the realm of darkness. The trees loomed overhead, their branches intertwining to form an impenetrable canopy. The air grew thick, laden with the scent of damp earth and decay. My footsteps echoed through the silent forest as I ventured further into the unknown, guided only by the memory of the woman's fleeting figure. The deeper I delved into the woods, the more the oppressive atmosphere intensified. Whispers floated on the air, indistinct voices that seemed to echo from the very fabric of the shadows. The trees morphed into contorted shapes, their twisted forms reaching out like skeletal hands, grabbing at the tendrils of my sanity. A flicker of movement caught my eye, and I froze in place. The woman stood ahead, her form obscured by the shifting shadows. She pointed to a dilapidated structure barely visible through the dense foliage, an old mansion consumed by time and neglect. As I approached, the mansion seemed to materialize from the darkness, its windows like vacant eyes staring into the abyss. The air grew colder, and an unsettling energy radiated from the decaying structure. I hesitated at the entrance, the creaking door swinging open with a haunting resonance. Inside, the mansion echoed with the echoes of forgotten laughter and whispered secrets. Dust danced in the dim light as I navigated the dilapidated halls, each step a reminder of the passage of time. The air was heavy with the weight of the past, and I sensed the lingering presence of those who had long departed. The woman led me through winding corridors and crumbling staircases, her ghostly form a beacon in the desolate mansion. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was caught in a nightmare, a surreal journey through the recesses of the unknown. In a forgotten chamber, she finally stopped. The walls were adorned with faded portraits of a bygone era, their eyes following my every move. The air was pregnant with anticipation as she gestured toward a dusty mirror, its surface clouded with age. Reluctantly, I approached the mirror, my reflection distorted by the passing years. As I gazed into the glass, a spectral presence emerged behind me, faces of the forgotten, their eyes reflecting the pain of unfulfilled destinies. I recoiled in horror as their silent screams reverberated through the chamber. The woman's mournful gaze met mine in the reflection. In that moment, I understood the tragedy that bound her to this forsaken place. A tale of loss, betrayal, and a love that transcended the boundaries of time. Her spectral hand reached out, beckoning me to bear witness to the echoes of the past. The room pulsed with an otherworldly energy as the walls seemed to bleed memories. Images of the mansion in its prime flickered before me, a grand ballroom alive with laughter, a forbidden romance that ended in tragedy, and the anguished faces of those who perished within its walls. As the spectral visions unfolded, I felt an invisible force pulling at the very fabric of my soul. The mansion became a vessel of the supernatural, a conduit for the unresolved anguish of those who lingered in the shadows. I was no longer a passive observer but a reluctant participant in a spectral drama that transcended the boundaries of time. The woman's figure began to fade, her purpose fulfilled in revealing the tragic tapestry of the mansion's history. I was left alone in the crumbling chamber, surrounded by the lingering echoes of the past. The weight of the unseen weighed heavily on my shoulders as I retraced my steps through the darkened halls. Back in the moonlit woods, the oppressive atmosphere began to lift. The whispers that once filled the air now faded into silence. The mansion, a mere silhouette against the night sky, held its secrets once more as I emerged from the treacherous journey. As I returned to my car, the headlights illuminated the desolate road ahead. The memories of the haunted mansion lingered in my mind, a testament to the thin veil that separates the living from the spectral realm. The engine roared to life, and I drove away from the darkness that clung to the abandoned mansion. The road stretched before me, winding through the silent night. The moon cast its watchful gaze on the desolate path, and as I drove away, I couldn't shake the feeling that the spirits of the past still lingered in the shadows, their stories etched into the very fabric of the haunted Hollow Creek.